It is my great honor to introduce our esteemed guest, Dr. G. Pravina Raghunathan. Today, we are blessed to have a doctor who blends knowledge with kindness and care with excellence. On behalf of all of us, I warmly welcome our speaker, Dr. Pravina. Now, I hand over the session to Dr. Pravina.
Hello to everyone. A very warm good afternoon to all of you. So it's wonderful to see you all and be here. And thank you, Dr. Anjana and my beloved teachers for inviting me to give this speech to you. So I know it's been a long day for all of you after several lectures that you would have attended. But I can promise you that today, whatever you are going to learn here is definitely going to be useful for your everyday life. Yeah. So, what I would like to say is, I meet a lot of young people in your age group in my clinic every day. Not everyone come to me with to know that something is wrong with them, but a lot of them come to me to understand what is happening within them, to understand about their body, to make more healthier choices in their life, and to clear out from and to get some clarity from the confusion that arises from a lot of the Google search, social media, and a lot of inputs from 10 different people, the advices that come from 10 different people. So basically they come to get some clarity about what's happening to them. So here we are to talk today about PCOS. I think this is a terminology that most of us would be very commonly aware of. Basically, the name itself is a misnomer. It stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. The cyst, poly means many, and the cyst means a small water-containing fluid. Actually, these cysts are not very dangerous ones. It's only the hormonal imbalance that is actually causing a problem it is. So a lot of confusions and myths that exist around this PCOS. So here today I am to talk about what is you have to know about PCOS. What are the early signs that you need to know to recognize that you might be probably having this, and when is that you need to seek the help, and what are the small changes that you can make in your everyday lifestyle that can help you to take control of this. So no more that we need to fear about this when you have the knowledge on it. So let's empower and enlighten ourselves today. So the end of the session, please feel free to ask me whatever the question. Don't think that this could be a silly question. Why would I have to? It's after all that your health matters the most. So let's go into the topic today. So here we are seeing that slide that says about that shows you an image of a normal ovary and an ovary that has a polycystic ovary. So where you will see a lot number of cysts. So here, yes, as I said, we are going to empower ourselves with knowledge and thereby unmask, what is PCOS. I think this picture would relate to most of us. This is something very commonly that we come across. Maybe your peers, your friends, your sisters. So you would definitely be coming across this. The acne that happen a lot on the face, and the other girl who is looking into the mirror to remove the excess of the facial hair. These are the most common symptoms that we see in PCOS, where it affects the menstrual cycle, the regularity of it, and then the skin and the hair, and a lot of hair fall also. So these are the common complaints that I see women coming and walking into the clinic for. So here, yes, the center picture shows the menstrual cycle. So this is a very common picture. Here I would like to tell you about, so we all know that the periods happens once in 30 days. It starts from the day 1 where the periods begins, and it can last up to 5 or 7 days. And later on the 14th day, there's something called ovulation that happens. I will talk more in detail about it in the coming slides. And again, the clock goes back it touches the 30th day and the first day again the cycle begins. Okay, so this is something that we all know. So what happens actually behind the scenes? So we know what is behind the scenes. That's like a beautiful orchestra, like a symphony orchestra. Like how we saw a few girls who were beautifully singing and one of them was playing a guitar, and how the beautiful music was coming out when all of them were playing it synchronously. Similarly, in the body, there is an orchestra that happens every month. That's called a hormonal orchestra that happens inside. So I'm going to brief about this beautiful thing that happens in this 30-day cycle. And later, in the next slide, you will be seeing a video of it. So what basically happens on the day one when the period begins is, there's something called, there's going to be a bit of science here. I hope it doesn't bore you, but I'm sure you will find it very interesting and intriguing as much as it does to me. So there's something called as a hypothalamus in our brain, where on the day one of the cycle, it releases a hormone called GnRH. This goes to touch another gland called the pituitary gland. So that's the second one. So the pituitary gland is in the base of the brain. So in response to the GnRH hormone, it is releasing something called as the FSH and LH hormone. So this enters our bloodstream and touches the ovaries in the reproductive system. So the ovaries start to respond to this and starts releasing the estrogen hormone from this tiny small cyst that we are seeing. So this is the most important aspect of it. So while this hormone estrogen gets secreted in the ovaries, there are a few follicles that get selected, like electing one leader in a classroom. One of the follicle that is present in the ovary gets selected in that particular cycle and starts developing in response to all of these hormones. When it reaches a particular size, say on the day 14, all this is going to happen in the first half of your cycle. So on the day 14, when this egg reaches a particular size, it ruptures and releases the egg, and that enters into the fallopian tubes. And this event is called the ovulation, that you will see on the bottom picture there, like how the egg is getting released on the 14th day. So one more additional information that is not related to the topic today, this is also called the period around the ovulation, that is around the day 14, is also called the fertile days. So why we call them fertile days? Because those are the days around the day 14, the chances of pregnancy to happen is also quite high. Okay. So moving on to the next slide, we are going to see a small video where whatever that I explained is going to come out as a beautiful video. Let's see how much you enjoy this. Okay, so I think you have to imagine music that goes in the background. So that's basically the uterus, the tubes and the ovaries. You can recall some of what you have studied in your biology class, probably in your 12th standard and 11th standard. So following these events, what happens is on day 14, the follicle ruptures and the egg gets released. So this is what I wanted you to understand. So let's move on to the next slide. To the next slide. Yeah. So here we see, you all would have probably been working in a lot of group projects. So what happens in a group project for the project to come out well? So there's one leader or a team leader who's selected so that the group project goes in a very organized fashion. So there's only one leader who gets selected. Similarly, normally the selection process happens in our body, then one egg gets selected, then everything happens rightly. But in PCOS, what happens here, like there are several students who are raising their hands in a classroom. There are many eggs who are ready to be nominated as a leader, but none of them are capable enough to be a right leader. And that's where the confusion happens, and this synchrony is broken. And then what happens finally is this ovulation does not take off. This is the primary problem that happens in the PCOS. So when the ovulation does not happen, that is when the women starts to skip the cycle. So I wanted you to understand why there is an irregular cycle. It's very easy for us to just say, oh yeah, yes, PCOS, you're going to have irregular cycle. But now you understand why that irregular cycle is happening is because there is no ovulation that's happening on the 14th day. So moving on to the next slide, let's see what are the factors, why should this even happen? Why is there an ovulation? An ovulation means no ovulation happening. So is that only? No, there's also several more that contributes to PCO. That is a lot of hormones, there's a hormonal imbalance, a lot of androgenic hormones. So when I say androgenic hormone, women have both estrogen and a little bit of androgens also. But when the balance skips, there are a lot more androgens, and that contributes to the acne and hair loss and even sometimes excessive hair growth on the face. So you understand the science behind the symptoms, why we experience all this in PCOS.